In a small, bustling town, there lived a young man named Arjun. Though he was brimming with potential, he often spent his days aimlessly, scrolling through his phone, binge-watching shows, and procrastinating on his dreams. His heart was filled with grand aspirations, but his actions never aligned with them. Every evening, he would look at the sunset with a sigh, whispering, "Tomorrow, I'll start." One day, while wandering through the marketplace, Arjun stumbled upon an old watchmaker's shop. The shop was filled with intricate clocks of all shapes and sizes, each ticking rhythmically, as if whispering secrets about life. Behind the counter sat the watchmaker, a wrinkled man with eyes that seemed to have seen the passage of countless lifetimes. Curious, Arjun asked, "Why do you have so many clocks? Are you collecting time?" The old man chuckled softly and replied, "In a way, yes. But the real question is, how are you spending your time?" Arjun was taken aback. "What do you mean?" The watchmaker pointed to a grand clock on the wall. Its hands moved steadily, never faltering. "Every tick of this clock is a moment you'll never get back. Time is the one thing we all have, but it's also the one thing we can never regain once it's gone. Are you spending it wisely?" Arjun hesitated. "I want to achieve so much, but I always feel there's more time. Tomorrow seems like the perfect day to start." The watchmaker's gaze turned serious. "Let me tell you a story, my boy. Years ago, there was a young man named Kabir who lived in this very town. Like you, Kabir had big dreams but always found excuses to delay taking action. He would say, 'Tomorrow, I'll work harder. Tomorrow, I'll chase my dreams.' But tomorrow never came. One fateful day, Kabir met a wise hermit while hiking in the mountains. The hermit handed him a glowing hourglass and said, 'This hourglass represents your life. Every grain of sand is a moment you can use to change your future. But beware, once the sand runs out, there's no turning it over.' At first, Kabir didn't take the hourglass seriously. He placed it on a shelf and continued with his life. But one day, he noticed that the sand in the hourglass was running dangerously low. Panic set in. He realized he had spent most of his life dreaming and very little time doing. He rushed to start working on his dreams, but the hourglass was relentless. It didn't slow down, no matter how much he begged. When the last grain of sand fell, Kabir looked back at his life with regret. He had wasted so much time waiting for the perfect moment, a moment that never came. The watchmaker paused and looked deeply into Arjun's eyes. "The hourglass is a metaphor for your life. Every moment you waste is a grain of sand lost forever. You don't need more time, Arjun, you need to value the time you already have." The words hit Arjun like a lightning bolt. That night, he couldn't sleep. The ticking of his alarm clock echoed in his mind, reminding him of the watchmaker's story. He realized he had been waiting for life to happen to him instead of taking charge of it. The next morning, for the first time in years, Arjun woke up with purpose. He wrote down his goals and started taking small but consistent steps toward them. He applied for the course he had always wanted to take, began exercising, and dedicated time to improving his skills. Every time he felt like procrastinating, he would remind himself of the watchmaker's words and the story of Kabir. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Arjun's life began to transform. He became more confident, more focused, and more determined. He learned that challenges were not obstacles but opportunities to grow. Whenever he faced setbacks, he reminded himself that failure was just a stepping stone to success. Years later, Arjun became a successful entrepreneur and a motivational speaker, inspiring countless others to value their time and chase their dreams. But he never forgot the watchmaker's lesson. In his office, he kept a small hourglass as a reminder that time waits for no one.